Chain smoke your problems away. Smokepit Fairy Tales Part 4. Chapter 17. What Dreams Are Made Of. Thatch woke up Saturday morning still drunk. He didn't want to get out of bed, but he had breakfast plans with Samum. She decided not to go home for the weekend. He brushed his teeth, paying particular attention to his fangs, took a shower, brushed his teeth again to get the alcohol smell off him, combed his hair, and put on a black shirt, jeans, his jacket, and his dad's scarf. He punched in the address Samum had sent him and drove across the base. He pulled up to the house and knocked on the door. Samum opened and gave Thatch a hug. He squeezed her back.
So you're just spending the weekend with your friend?
Samum came out, closed the door behind her, and walked to the car with Thatch.
Yeah. Misha's out of town for the weekend, and I'm watching her dogs. It's kind of a last-minute thing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, the dog's a good boy.
What's his name?
Oh, so?
Oh, all right.
Thatch opened the car door for Samum.
Thank you, sir.
She sat down and Thatch got in and started the engine.
Where are we going?
Andres?
I like that place.
Good.
Thatch putted the sloop off base, then roared the engine when they passed the gate. They walked in, sat down, and gave the waitress their order. Thatch looked over Samum from across the booth. Her hair was a mess. Thatch didn't mind, though. It was wild and fierce as southern winds. As he gazed at her, he concluded that he liked her better without makeup. She had an exotic, natural beauty about her that was only enhanced by the subtle imperfections in her face. He thought about why people tried to cover up their skin issues as he looked over Samum. Sure, an argument could be made about how ugly the little splotches and dots were, but he thought they only added beauty to her aura.
Want to know something cool?
Samum raised her eyebrows and smiled.
What's that?
He smiled back.
I'm not wearing a bra.
Thatch smiled and nodded his head, not approving of her demeanor.
She's in worse shape than I am.
Samum put her hands in her breasts and shook them in circles. Thatch was conflicted about how to feel. On one hand, he was flattered that a woman was being that overtly sexually explicit with him in public. On the other, he was starting to genuinely care about her and didn't appreciate her imprudent behavior, at least not with the population. Samum was still playing with her boobs when the waitress put the plates on the table, shooting her hand to the seat, hoping the waitress didn't catch what she was doing. Thatch picked up his fork and started to eat. He silently prayed that no one could see how embarrassed he was for being with Samum right then. He then thought that if God answered prayers like the telephone, he'd probably tell Thatch to run for his life. Thatch tried to act cool.
So what are you getting into today?
I'm hanging up a mirror in Misha's living room.
Why does she have you doing that?
She's not. I just don't have anything else to do.
She looked up at him from her plate.
Want to come help me?
Thatch's mind screamed at him.
No, fucker, just run away!
But his heart controlled his mouth. His brain never stood a chance.
Yeah, my schedule's empty.
He lied to her. He pulled out his phone and canceled his plans with Chuck via text. They ate quietly for a moment before Samum asked,
You ever have nightmares and can't figure out what they're about?
Thatch thought back to his first couple of deployments when the war with Russia was worse than it had been recently.
Sometimes.
I kept having this nightmare when I was TAD. This beast kept stalking me, trying to kill me while I was in bed. But there were candles around the room that kept him at bay. He kept,
Samum spun her hand around, trying to put the words together.
Mumbling numbers to himself. And then the beast would just be scared, like it didn't want to hurt me, but he wasn't in charge of what he was doing. Then I'd get scared and run outside and get into a car accident, and I'd be alone in the car, but I was in the back seat. It was dark, very dark.
Do you think it means anything?
Thatch asked, trying to be helpful.
I don't know. For some reason, I think the numbers he was mumbling were codes to locks. I don't know. But then, after the car, I'd be back in the bed, and the beast would try to put out the lights, and I'm freaked out because in the dream, I'm like 12, and I don't know what the beast is going to do to me.
Thatch couldn't think of anything intelligent to say to her.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
They finished eating and rode back to Misha's house. When they opened the door, a small poodle jumped up on Samum. She rubbed his head and repeated,
Who's a good boy?
Until Ozo noticed Thatch and jumped up on his leg. Thatch closed the door and pet the dog. Samum put her keys and wallet on the counter.
No sex in the house.
And that was out of nowhere. Okay.
He followed her into the living room and saw the mirror she wanted to hang up. It was about 2 by 8 feet and had a cheaply made but ornate frame. Samum searched the room for the screws and tools and handed Thatch a measuring tape and a pencil.
Mind finding where to screw?
What's wrong with the couch?
Thatch joked. Samum looked to see what was wrong with the couch. Thatch saw that she wasn't going to get the humor.
Oh wait, you said no sex in the house.
Samum grimaced at him and gave an irritated
Ha!
Thatch reached up and measured down from the ceiling a few points where to make holes. Samum started drilling. When the mirror was hung, they sat on the floor and looked at each other's reflections. Thatch moved behind her and pulled her into his lap. She pulled his arms around her and tucked them into her own.
I don't want you to think I'm a prude about the oral thing.
What?
I had an STD scare once, and now I won't touch anyone without a condom on.
Oh, the blowjob thing.
Thatch was starting to become concerned with how Samum's mind operated.
Yeah.
That's whatever.
Thatch moved his hand up to Samum's head and pulled it back for a kiss. The first one was slow but passionate. He dragged his lips across hers, and she ran her tongue along his mouth. Samum turned around and mounted Thatch. She held his hand to the ground and let her furious mane wave over him. He pulled his hand away and caressed her waist, then moved down to get a handful of her glorious posterior anatomy. If it was an ass, it was the finest ass any king could have pull a cart. If it were a booty, it would shame all of Blackbeard's hordes. If it were buns, the gods wouldn't waste it with something as petty as ambrosia. If it were a seat, it would be only claimed by the deities, the Aesir and Vanir themselves. It would make lesser gods weep. Thatch soaked in every ounce of love Samum rained on him. Tannhauser didn't get the real Venus. Samum pressed the inside of her legs on Thatch's groin. He could feel her heat. He kept one hand on her ass and sent the other one to unbutton her jeans. Samum pulled his hand away and whispered,
I told you. No sex in the house.
She then kissed his neck and ran her nails into his shoulder blades. She continued to grind on him through their jeans. He could feel the moisture creeping through the material, but his penis was stuck between his boxers and his zipper, and the metal teeth dug into his shaft. Thatch pushed her up into a sitting position and kissed her neck.
Samum.
Yes?
She rested her head on Thatch's shoulder and let her hair fall down his back.
Do you want to go see a movie tonight?
I'd love to.
Awesome.
Thatch kissed her again.
I'm gonna go home and take a shower. I'll pick you up around 6.
Samum smiled.
That works for me.
He kissed her one last time.
All right, see you tonight.
Thatch left the house giddy and bubbly. Thatch pulled the sloop back up to Misha's that evening. His cigarette was only half burned, so he texted Samum that he was out front.
I don't remember the last time a guy came all the way up to the house to get me for a date.
Samum said as she locked the front door. She wore black leggings, a sequin shirt, a black top, and a peacoat. Thatch inhaled the cigarette and tried not to take that personally. Samum got in the car. Thatch twisted the rest of the tobacco out of the smoke and drove out towards town. They made small talk over the roaring motor until they got to the theater where Thatch bought Samum a cup of ice cream. He got licorice for himself, and they split a soda. The film was enjoyable. Thatch wrapped his fingers around Samum's as they sat shoulder to shoulder. When the movie was over, they loaded back into the car, drove out into the desert, and parked on a dirt trail off the highway. Thatch took the top off the sloop, nesting it in the trunk. They sat in the bucket seats and stared up at the stars.
What's space like?
I thought you'd been up there. How old are you?
21. I was born on Luna, but I only have vague memories of anything other than Mars. It's really kind of crazy to me think that I've been up and out there.
It's cold, boring, and cramped, and the ships all have tight compartments except for the hangars and well-decked mess areas.
Samum took a breath and kept looking at the heavens. She wrapped her hand around Thatch's.
I think if there's a god, he's just an alien.
What makes you think that?
I don't know, I just do. What about you?
And that's a tough one. I don't think he's as powerful as everyone says he is, or the same guy most of the time.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know.
The night's chill made its way into Thatch's coat as he zipped it up a little higher. He pulled out his smokes and offered Samum a cigarette. She waved him off.
No, thank you.
Thatch lit up.
I mean, what I think is that all the old gods were a thing. Like, they had to,
Thatch spun his index finger in circles to help himself think.
Like, they had to have more followers to be more powerful than, like, all the old religions had different afterlives. Like hell, less shitty hell, purgatory, a nicer purgatory, and a paradise. But only immortals could ever get into paradise. Everyone else went to one of the, bottom 4. Then I think God figured out that if he sacrificed himself, then he could get the mortals into paradise, then they'd all worship him instead of the others, and that's how the guy we refer to as God claimed the throne. He may have been around forever, but, who knows how that really works. Then it's like, was he really the god of Earth, the solar system? Did he come to Mars after Earth got destroyed? I don't know, man, but it trips me out. I mean, I'm vaguely Catholic. I'm not a member of the church, but when I used to be, that's where we went. I guess I believe in that God.
Well, at the very least, it's an elaborate theory.
The wind started to pick up, bringing the cool air to a freeze. Samum bundled up and pulled her scarf around her tighter.
It's a bit cold out.
Yeah, we should probably get inside.
Thatch quickly pulled the roof out of the trunk and put it back on top of the sloop.
It was nice to see the stars from this far away from the lights.
It was.
Thatch headed the car back towards Camp Castle. When they got to base, Thatch asked Samum,
Am I taking you back to the barracks or Misha's house?
hoping that she'd say the barracks.
I have to take care of Oso.
That's right.
Thatch pulled up to the house and parked the car. Thatch was about to unbuckle his seatbelt and at least walk her to the door, but Samum gave him a quick smile and
All right, good night.
she got out of the car and walked into the house before Thatch could tell her the same.
What was that about?
He was tempted to text her about it, but didn't know what to say and was uneasy about how she'd take it. He started the car and pulled out of the driveway. He dug for another cigarette but found the pack empty. He stopped at the gas station and picked up a pack before he rolled home. The parking lot was full when he returned to the barracks.
Figures.
Thatch pulled around searching for parking. He found a spot in the headquarters parking garage. He got out and went to walk through the barracks courtyard towards his room. When he got to the door, Samum walked up behind him.
I thought you were staying at your friend's house.
Thatch said to her, as surprised as he was confused that she was there.
I changed my mind.
Oh,
Thatch held the door open for her.
wanna come over for a drink then?
Samum didn't look at him, but in a low, condescending voice that Thatch hadn't been talked to in years by anyone, she snooted.
I know what that means with you.
Thatch let Samum through the door and let her walk away before he passed the lobby to the courtyard.
The fuck was that about?
Thatch was confused as to what he did wrong. He went to his room, poured some schnapps, then went back outside to smoke. He ran through the night in his head and couldn't figure out what crawled up Samum's ass, genuinely concerned that he said or did something dumb to her. He gave up on why she acted rude to him, then thought about why she came back to the barracks if she was supposed to be dog and house sitting for Misha. He couldn't figure out either, so he downed a few drinks and smokes and hit the rack. He decided he wasn't going to talk to her again until she said something first, figuring that maybe it was best to give her space.
Hey everybody, what's up? Thanks for listening to another chapter of Chainsmoke Your Problems Away. Couple updates for you. I've got all but a few of the voices in already for Smokepit Fairy Tales 5, and the rest of those voices I do already have lined up. So if you're following over on Patreon, yeah, you should be starting to get that in January. I've only got a handful of episodes. I've only got a handful of chapters left for Smokepit Fairy Tales 4, this book, to get done and edited. And, you know, Patreon gets these as I get them done. I think we're on chapter 32? Or 33? Excuse me, of 39. Sort of tightening in close over there. But anyway, on that, I would like to thank my patrons. And I would also like to thank people who got the YouTube membership thing for this channel. I don't know what that's called. I just know you guys get these a little bit early. As well as everyone who has gotten a war chest or a war chest Mark II or the war crate. All y'all's names are, you know, in the credits. I would also like to thank all of you that just, you know, show up and watch these. You know, maybe leave a like and a comment. You know, that helps the channel too. But anyway, things are moving along over here. And I'd like to wish all you a happy Thanksgiving, unless you live in Canada, because you guys did that in October. Right? And yeah, we're gonna keep chugging along over here. I hope you're getting ready for the holiday madness that is to come. I've still got plenty of Christmas shopping I gotta do. That being said, on that, I know a lot of people like to get war chests for people for Christmas, which if you're new here, that's the first 6 of these books in a custom painted ammo can. There's like cards and stickers and all that fun stuff in them. And then the war chest Mark II is the second half of the series. But I build those things to order, and for some reason, you know, my publisher likes to send me my books really fucking slow for some reason. Like it usually takes like 2 weeks for books just to get to me. So like I don't order them until someone else orders, because they're expensive. This box is like $120 just to put together. And then I gotta mail it. Then Uncle Sam gets his cut. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is if you want to get one of these for Christmas, you should probably order it like soon. You know, if you want it to be there on time before actually Christmas. Because I mean, for most of the year, you know, between you pressing click and it showing up at your door, you're probably gonna have 3.5 weeks. Anyway, but you know, with the holiday season come up, you know, shipping just gets fine. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, thanks to everyone who has gotten a war chest, and thank you again to the YouTube subscribers, and thank you again to the Patreon people. And thanks to everyone who's just, you know, read these books and left them reviews on Amazon, or just, you know, clicked and liked here, whatever. All right, thanks again for tuning in. I'm gonna quit rambling because I have not had enough caffeine yet today. And here are your blippers. All right, ciao.
All right, this is a test. And this is a test of the National Broadcast System designed for recording my voice 6 inches away from my face. As far as broadcasts go, it's not very good. Test over. I don't remember. For a good reason. Trip just saw the greatest concert of his life. I was sick as a dog. Sick concert. Sick boy. Now we're resuming work on this. So without further ado, ouch! I hit my weenus. Yeah.
Okay, now that the cat has shut the fuck up, this is chapter 17. What Dreams Are Made Of. Not What Dreams May Come. That was a weird movie. What Dreams Are Made Of. Hollis reading for Samum. Chapter 17. Samum is house sitting for a friend. Thatch is coming over to pick her up. So they go on a date. Oh, so sweet. Okay. I am so silly tonight, but you know what? That's fine. Okay, and I'm not going to burp during... Wow. It's Friday night. Okay.
He punched in the address Samum had given. You started talking when I started talking. No, it's fine. Samum. God damn it.
I don't know if you want make-out sounds right now, but I'm going to go ahead and make some for you.
Sure, an argument could be made about how ugly the little splotches and dots were, but he thought they only added beauty to her aura. Okay. God, he's gay. Moving on. Samum raised her eyebrows and smiled. God, no, it's not Samum, it's Thatch!
All right, Thatch leaves, come back later, and texts Samum from the car. She comes to the car.
Samum raised her eyebrows and smiled. What? No, it was Samum! It was Samum all along! Thatch thought back to his... Thatch thought back.
Go to the movies. And then they go out to the desert and look at the stars.
Thatch was starting to become concerned. Yeah, seriously, me too. If it was an ass, then it was the finest ass any king could have pull a card. Oh my god. Sometimes even when I'm gonna get a good read, I can't help but laugh at the fucking just audacity of what my brain is making sense of after my mouth has already started to shape it.
Now they're hanging out in the desert, looking at the stars. Super romantico. Which is Czech for romantic. I know, super creative.
Who wrote this trip? And the metal teeth dug into his shaft. Ouch, ouch, been there. I'm gonna read that again. Samum expectantly answered the age you would expect somebody who behaves as Samum does to be.
At this time, I would like to play Buck Cherry's Crazy Bitch for you. You're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good on top of it. Meow, meow. I don't remember all the lyrics. Anyway, congrats.
End of long Thatch paragraph. He stopped. Fuck you. Fuck! No!
Gonna give you some make-out noises here, because they're making out.
He got me. Fucking slut tax. He dug for another cigarette, but found the bag empty. Oh, fuck. How shitting.